Jojo, do you want to start?
Yeah, yeah, I can.
Those who are confused, Kaustav Mukherjee on the screen prefers to be called Jojo.
Yeah, I really should have put that up. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Uh, okay, cool. So yeah, let me start. Thank you. Look, so just a little bit of background. I have spent about 10 plus years, more than 10 years in equity research, buy side, sell side, expert networks. In the last sort of couple of years, I mean, we've all seen the push to sort of build financial models and then kind of build them faster and faster, right? So you'll see benchmarks going. Sonic can build this in X minutes, Claude 4.6, X minus something, et cetera, et cetera. While the situation's changing, I think not enough attention has been paid to kind of evaluating the models that these AI models are producing, right? So that's the part that I'm focusing on. I'm focusing on evals. Essentially, what I'm trying to do is encode 10 years of tacit workflow and judgment into a model that can then take that and sort of very quickly, very consistently validate any model, any external model. So the idea is for this, and I'll show you that in the demo as well. But the idea is you upload an Excel model, you ask, in this case, the interface is Claude. You ask Claude to run the checks. They are going to read the Excel, specifically run some checks that I have encoded using my personal experience, my personal knowledge, and then give you a structured output. Is something like this not in the market? I mean, yes, it is. And given the focus by Frontier AI Labs on building, given the focus on kind of the financial services vertical, there are products out there that can do this. And we can talk a little bit about why this is different versus some of the things that Claude itself can do. So let me just share my screen and run the model. Okay. Not a technology person. The CMD screen scares the hell out of me. Let's hope this works. Yeah, you guys can see this, right? Great. So, Claude. Right. So I built an ASML model. ASML is a company that's involved in photolithography for the manufacturing of microchips. Integrated circuits. So I built an ASML model. It is there saved on the system. I'm going to ask Claude to kind of run the eval system that we built on the ASML model, and it's going to give us a structured output. This process is going to take about 8 to 10 minutes. I had run it before. I have a ready output, but let's walk through the process of at least hitting enter on here. Bala and Nimit, anybody that can help me understand this. Every time I run this keeps coming up with, option 1, yes, option 2, no, etc. I kind of need to figure out how to get rid of that.
Yeah. So whenever Claude tries to access, or any of these models try to access system folders, right? So these model houses, they have put some security mechanisms in place to make sure that it doesn't access anything unauthorized. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's the warning that you're actually saying, hey, Claude is going to work on this folder and read the contents of this folder. Are you okay? Ideally, it should only happen the first time. Okay.
Yeah.
So the memory, the claude.md file in this folder might be corrupted, or some wrong entries there. So it is not understanding that it has taken permissions already. So you can have
yeah. So let this thing run. I mean, like I said, I have an output here already, so I'll run through this. So this is the output that it will generate. This let's start here, right? So there's going to be the check and the result. So for this particular model, here's what Claude found, or here's what the program found, right? they said there was 1 submission blocking failure and 5 moderate issues. So I had done this before. They had said the previous model was materially better. I mean, this one is materially better than the previous one. And so now we have 1 submission blocking failure and 5 moderate issues. So let's kind of look at some of the issues that it says. The moderate blocking failure is a metadata error. This is not relevant except in very, very specific contexts. So we can kind of ignore that for now. In here, we're looking at, so essentially, when they're looking at the balance sheet errors, right? So it's essentially going in and actually looking at the balance sheet numbers. It's calculating the error, and it's figuring out if there is an error, right? If there is an error, there are encodes that go check where the error is coming from, and it will give you sort of both a qualitative and a quantitative answer. So that's kind of the workflow here. There's going to be both logic errors, accuracy errors, structure errors, etc. that has been hard-coded into the code that I built, and this is kind of the output that they will give you, right? So if you go through these are again rules that I had baked in. These are the results. Like the model said, there were 3 or 4 warnings in here that we can potentially talk about. If you look at warning 3, right? So they're saying 3 cash flow items were held flat at 2025 cash flow levels. If you're projecting things out, typically certain cash flow items you're going to keep constant while you're projecting that out. Typically, if you have to build the encoding in to figure out whether that's that's an error or not. So yeah, I think that's ultimately the the demo. What I have tried to do is like I said, encode rules into the process. You put in an Excel model, it will kind of give you a structured output on whether your model is kind of working or not working.
JoJo, one question. So, does it basically show you whether the model that exists on Excel sheet is correct or not? Is my understanding right?
Yes. I mean, I haven't built a UI for this. A UI for this would be something like, like you build a little website thingy, you have an upload button, you hit it, you kind of do that.
Yeah.
And this kind of runs in the back end. Yeah.
Understood.
I actually don't know how to build a UI, so.
No, I think this is fine. So, I mean, for this, probably the UI might not even make sense. Probably putting a comment in the Excel sheet will make a lot more sense.
Yeah, that's gonna
That's
so
lovely.
look, the roadmap for this is I'm going back to all of the kind of models I've built previously. I'm going to start building them from scratch, like part by part. I'm going to build them from scratch, and then I'm going to design a prompt to see if the AI can build it. What are the errors there, and then I will try to kind of encode those errors into the code. So I've been freelancing for firms like Micro One and Pareto. They kind of do similar things. So I'm just trying to use my knowledge to encode it into a system. The USP here is kind of consistency, right? So even if you let's say you have Bloomberg, right? We all can calculate issues on Bloomberg. You still have an entire investment process. You still kind of run it yourself. You know that this is your philosophy. These are the specific things you want to encode. So that is the sort of value add here. I am encoding my process, my investment philosophy, my workflows into this, and you can kind of replicate that.
Very interesting.
So Kaustav, so JoJo, I have a question. Your model, does it search the internet for the annual report and check the numbers also, or does it check only the formula?
Again, this is a very, very MVP part of it. So for this particular, yes, ultimately it will have to do that because, all right, so let me take it this way. The overall goal is going to be an evaluation system that is based on 5 factors, right? First, I would look at, let's say, the structure of the model, right? So do you have an assumption sheet that is separate from the rest of the model? Is there an original source of truth? Are you building out the revenue model? Do you have your income statement, balance sheet, cash flow, valuation, summary? all of that in a format that is easy to understand and kind of benchmark the best practices, right? So that's one. Two would be accuracy. Three would be logic. Four would be completeness. Are you doing like sensitivity analysis, upside downside cases, etc.? And five would be formatting. So the accuracy checking is going to come in part two of this. Because this is a demo, I just put in 5 checks and then expanded on those checks and just encoded it in here. So it's a very, very small part of what I'm eventually trying to do. The eventual idea is to kind of take all of that and build a repository of I guess, judgment. I still haven't figured out how to encode it, but a repository of judgment, and then kind of have the model access that while they are evaluating systems. Does that make sense? I mean, I can elaborate on
that.
Yeah.
That does make sense. So in a sense, this is a problem specific to you. And when you had started, you had mentioned that there are solutions that exist out there, and you wanted to build this for your own personal, specific, unique use cases. Could you maybe talk a little bit about that? Because that's the entire point of why we are all building.
Correct. It's not necessarily building for my own personal use case. It is more using, let's say, 10, 12 years of experience in the industry and encoding a workflow and judgment that I have been able to build into a model, right? So that is the idea. And the USP here is if you use, let's say, take this as a base and then kind of put your own RAG, if you will, into it, you are getting a model that is going to evaluate your investments with a very, very consistent process. With Claude, the problem was if I give Claude the same model, let's say in different sessions or different models in different sessions, the kind of evaluation I come back with is A, prose, and B, not sort of consistent across my evaluation system. So this is essentially a buy-side analyst encoding their own evaluation system for people to use is the way I would look at it. Sorry, I can't hear you, man.
Sorry, I was speaking on mute. Yeah. We also have a comment in the chat box from Varun,
Yes.
who says that when the larger team is, say, using this, then UI will make a lot of sense. And yeah, if you haven't tried Claude UI, I mean, if you know exactly what you want to build, it will do a decent job. So you don't need, I mean, you were worried and you were scared of the CMD. Trust me, if you build a UI, it is going to be an easier job. Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jojo.
Appreciate it.